I can't even teach you how to tidy.
Oh. We are live.
Okay, you're poking out a little bit.
And the house on. I will put my website in the chat if anyone wants more yoga. And we've got a family pod going. And a beautiful model.
Yay.
All right, and we're going to start on our backs, lying down on our backs. In whatever position is comfortable for you. Yeah. Cool. I call the sequence Sun Warrior. Because it is just the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. In yogic tradition, you do 108 sun salutations. We're not going to do that today, but in the spirit of that, we're going to be doing some sun salutations and be strong about it. We're going to be warriors, and we're going to do warriors 1, 2, and 3 because we're sun warriors. All right, so lying here on your back, maybe closing your eyes if that's comfortable for you. Maybe relax the muscles around your eyes. Let your legs flop open. Relax your shoulders down to the ground. And take a big belly breath through your nose, filling up, expanding through your entire belly and your chest. And open your mouth and let it all out. And notice if anything's coming up, any worries or concerns, and see if for these 60 minutes you can just let it go. Those worries will be waiting for you. Don't worry. Don't worry about your worries. Inhale again, big belly breath through the nose. Open your mouth and let it go. And we will start cultivating a type of yogic breath, Ujjayi breath. On your next big belly breath, inhale. Open your mouth like you're going to fog up glass in front of you. Might sound like a wheezy old man, but that's good. Another inhale, big belly breath through the nose. Open your mouth, fog up glass, but halfway through, close your mouth. So you still have that whisper in the back of your throat. Inhaling and exhaling through the nose, seeing if you can cultivate it on your own. And as always, everything I am offering to you are suggestions. Listen to your body, and if anything hurts or is painful, stop. And that's the end of the sentence. Listen to your body, do what you need. We'll just do a quick body scan while we're here, and while we're thinking about it. Starting from the toes, the tips of the toes. How are your feet feeling? Your ankles, through your calves. Can you feel your right knee and your left knee? Notice. Feel up through your thighs, into your hips. How's your left hip and your right hip? Up through the torso. How's your belly doing? Expanding through the chest, through the shoulders, up into the neck. Notice through your face, if there's any more tension, relax it. And just acknowledge if anything's running through your mind right now. Acknowledge it. You don't have to make it disappear. How are your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, your right wrist and your left wrist? And each finger. And as you're bringing your attention to your fingers, give them a wiggle. Wiggle your fingers, maybe wiggle your toes. Start bringing some movement. We're going to build some heat. Maybe rolling the wrists and the ankles. Slowly waking up. Maybe bringing your arms up overhead if you've got space. Get a nice long full body stretch this morning. And then bring your arms up over your shoulders, reaching towards the sky. Hug your knees into your chest. Bring the knees in. Maybe give them a gentle hug. Maybe rocking side to side, massaging your low back. And then release your right leg long back, laying down on the ground, but keep it activated and engaged. You can touch down your leg and let it rest on the ground, but maybe pull your toes back towards your face and activate that leg. Hugging in your left knee. See if you can hug it in towards your armpit. And then interlace your fingers behind your knee on your thigh or your calf. Avoid the knee joint if you can. And start reaching your heel up to the sky. Gently waking up those hamstrings. Just saying, hey. Breathing here. Find your Ujjayi breath again. And bend that knee, hug it back into your chest. And then switch your legs, hug your right knee into your chest, and let your left leg be long and strong on the ground here, activating through that leg. Hugging that right knee into your armpit. Hug it in. Breathing here. This is really good for digestion. In yoga, this is a wind relieving pose. It puts pressure on your ascending and descending colon. And then on your next inhale, interlace your fingers behind your leg and reach that heel up to the sky, behind your thigh or your calf, wherever feels good. And stretch that leg up to the sky. Keep your left leg activated so that your hips are level with one another. And notice if you turn your foot in or out, if that feels better for your hamstrings or your knees. One more breath here. Full belly breath in. And let it go. And hug both knees into your chest. One more time. And then stacking your knees above your hips. Make a 90-degree angle with your legs here. Knees stacked above hips. And then heels just behind your knees. We're just going to do a few toe taps, starting to wake up the core, the trunk of the body. So drawing your belly button down towards your spine. If you want to bring both toes or heels to the ground for a little tap, exhale as you tap. Inhale on your way back up. You can have your hands underneath your hips if that feels better for your back. Just go with your breath. Inhaling and exhaling. Little taps, as strong as you want them to be. If you don't want any strength, you don't have to do it. Drawing that belly button down. Using your breath to guide your movement. One more here. Inhaling and exhaling. And then hug your knees back into your chest. Hugging with your arms. Rock and roll along on your spine to come up to a seat. Sitting cross-legged if that's comfortable for you. Either crossing at the ankles or the shins. Maybe wiggling side to side to see if you can sit directly on your sit bones. Sitting up tall here, palms face down or up on your knees. Or in your middle of your lap, whatever is comfortable. And sitting up tall, see if you can sort of wiggle your chest forward and back and side to side and see where you feel your shoulders stacking over your hips and your head lightly lifted above that, finding a long spine here. Closing your eyes for a moment. Breathing into the space, finding length. breathing into the space in your body. As we celebrate the winter solstice and the shortest day of the year, it's a time of rebirth, regeneration, whatever you want to call it. It's a new start. And if you want to set any intention for yourself or for anybody else you want to send energy to, you can do that now. Releasing your shoulders away from your ears, drawing your shoulder blades down your back towards your hips, reaching your sternum up to the sky. And take one breath for you. You did the work of doing the yoga already. Just being in your body and breathing is what matters. Inhale a big breath for you and let it go. Whenever you're ready, start rolling over your knees into a tabletop or all fours position. Hands and knees, wrists stacked underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, and be a strong table here. Find a straight back. Your toes can be tucked or the tops of your feet pressing into the ground, whatever feels best for your knees. We'll go through 3 cat-cow positions. So cat-cow with your breath as you inhale, let your belly start to drop, bring your chest through your arms, maybe start looking up if that's all right with your neck. Inhale, fill up all the way, and then as you exhale around your back to the sky, squeeze out that breath. Inhaling, chest through the arms, tailbone to the sky, fill up, expand up, maybe moo. And then exhale, dome your back to the sky, squeeze it out. One more time, biggest breath yet. Inhale, expand that belly. And exhale, squeeze it out. And come back through center. Hands and knees along spine. Reach your tailbone away from the top of your head. Maybe tuck those right toes under and start to reach your right heel back. Maybe give yourself a little calf stretch with a long leg back behind you. Maybe inhaling that heel to be level with your hip, floating that leg in line with the rest of your body. Engaging through the leg, keeping your hips level, toes flexed directly down to the ground. This is a great place to be. Or maybe inhale your left arm out in front of you in line with your ear, palm facing towards your face. Finding a long line from your fingertips to your heel, engaging through the core, the trunk, finding stability from the top down. It's a bird dog position. We're setting up here for Warrior 3 later on. Inhaling and exhaling, holding, looking down, and breathing. Find your breath. One more long breath here. Can you be as straight as possible, reaching through the fingertips? Inhaling, and then exhaling, releasing your hand and your knee. Let's do one round of cat-cow before the other side. Inhaling, chest through the arms, fill up that belly. And exhale, dome your back to the sky. And coming back through center. You're going to do that on the other side. Tucking those left toes under and stretching out that left leg back behind you. A little calf stretch. Staying here, or maybe reaching that hip up level in line with the hip. Hovering your leg. Staying here. Square hips, engaged leg. Or reaching that right arm out in front of you in line with your ear. Palm facing in. Holding your bird dog position here. Finding some strength. Reaching through those fingertips. And pressing into your entire left palm. Pressing into the fingertips. Take the weight out of the wrist a little bit. Pressing into those fingertips, holding here for another breath. Inhale, finding that length. And exhale, release your hand and your knee. You can widen your knees, spread them apart a little bit, and then bring your toes to touch back behind you and start to sit your butt to your heels for child's pose. This will be an active child's pose, so if you can reach your hands out in front of you, maybe reaching your head to the ground, keeping your elbows off the ground because you're pressing so much into your hands. Active child's pose. If this feels like a good rest for you, this is a good place if you ever need to find some rest. And looking forward at your hands, separate them about shoulder width distance and start to press into your fingertips, tucking your toes under and shifting your hips forward. And then start to straighten your legs and your hips up to the sky, sitting up for downward facing dog. Give yourself a little dog wiggle. Pedal your feet, waking up those hamstrings. Pressing so much into your hands that your elbow pits, the insides of your elbows start reaching towards each other, maybe out in front of you. And then shift your weight forward, coming into a plank position. As you inhale, plank, and then exhale, shift your hips up and back to downward facing dog. We're just going to do this a few times. Listen to your breath, inhaling through plank and exhaling through downward facing dog. Inhaling plank, finding some of that strength here. Be aboard, and then exhale back to downward facing dog. One more time like that. Inhaling through plank, and exhaling downward facing dog, and hold here for a moment. Let your head be heavy. Shake it yes, shake it no. We'll take one big belly breath in here. Open mouth, exhale, let it go. Look forward in between your hands and slowly walk your feet inch by inch up to meet your hands. See if you can get your heel to touch down first. Yeah, saying hey to those hamstrings. And then staying in this forward fold, you can widen your feet if you need more of a release in the low back, or maybe bring your toes to touch, heels slightly apart if you want a little bit more. Finding wherever you are and releasing into it. Bend your knees to get your belly to your thigh. Once you get that connection, belly to thigh, you can grab opposite elbows and let your torso hang. And then once you're there, maybe you can work on straightening the legs. Any amount. Breathing here. Maybe swaying right and left. Or finding stillness. Ragdoll pose. Be a rag. And then release your elbows if you had them. And bring your fingertips to the ground. And as you inhale, keep your knees slightly bent and try to bring your torso parallel to the ground, drawing your fingertips up to your shins and your head in line with your hips for a half lift. Inhaling here, just barely brushing your legs with your fingertips. No pressure on the legs. Inhaling, finding length through your spine here. Half lift and exhale, fold forward, release it, let it go. We'll do that 2 more times, linking the breath to the movement. Inhaling, half lift, and exhaling, fold. Inhaling, half lift, exhaling, fold. Last time, inhaling, half lift, exhaling, fold. And then this time as you inhale, come up to standing with a long spine, reaching your arms out as you start to stand up. Gentle bend in the knees, reaching your arms overhead. And then exhale, hands through center, down by your sides. Standing in Tadasana or mountain pose. Keeping your feet hips width distance or toes to touch, heels apart. Whatever works for you. Standing tall here. Strong through the legs. Press into your feet. Maybe rock forward and back, side to side. Find the place where you feel most centered on your feet. And then press into those feet. Engage through the legs, but release the butt muscles. Start to bring your hip bones towards your low ribs, but broaden through the chest. Bring that sternum to the sky. Finding stability here. This is also called mountain pose. Reaching your hands down by your sides. Maybe close your eyes here for a moment. Finding some balance from within. And then open your eyes and inhale your arms out and up overhead, keeping your torso where it is. And then exhale, bend your knees slightly to fold forward with a long spine. Inhale for a half lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, coming all the way up to standing, arms out and up, long spine to do so. And then exhale, release your hands through center or down by your side. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, arms up overhead. Keep that long spine, bend your knees slightly to fold forward on your exhale. Inhale, half lift, fingertips to shins, long spine here. And exhale, fold, release. Inhale, arms out, come up through standing, long spine. And exhale, release your hands. All right, we'll flow through a full Surya Namaskar A or Sun Salutation A. Inhale, arms out and up. Exhale, folding forward, long spine. Inhale for that half lift. And exhale, plant your hands onto the ground and step your feet back to a plank. Knees up or down here, whatever works for you. Maybe everybody knees down. Just to start, shift your weight slightly forward, getting those shoulders forward from the wrists ever so slightly to bend your elbows 90 degrees. Holding here for your chaturanga. And then exhale, release your belly all the way to the ground. Making sure that your fingertips are in line with your nipples here. Pressing the tops of your feet into the ground. Inhale, peel your chest away from the ground for your low cobra. Bhujangasana, because you bougie. And then exhale, shift back through child's pose. Shift your hips up and back through child's pose, tucking those toes under, shifting your hips up and back to downward facing dog whenever you're ready. Looking forward in between your hands. Step, walk, or jump your feet to your hands. Inhale for a half lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, come all the way up to standing with a long, straight spine. And exhale, release those hands. You can flow through that version of a Sun Salutation A, or if you want a little bit more strength, we'll amp it up. Inhale, your arms out and up overhead. Exhale, folding forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those hands, step back to plank or jump back into chaturanga. Knees up or down. You can let your belly touch down to the ground or just press the tops of your feet and your hands into the ground. Press up, expanding the chest forward for an upward facing dog. And then exhale, roll over those toes, come back to downward facing dog. So that's a vinyasa, or linking breath to movement. The traditional flow. But there's always the option to skip it and then just meet back in downward facing dog. Breathing here, reconnect to your Ujjayi breath. You find the whisper in the back of your throat. Looking forward in between your hands. Bring your feet to your hands, step, walk, or jump. Inhale for that half lift. Find some length through the spine. And exhale, folding forward. Inhale, reach the arms out and up as you come to standing. And then exhale, release your hands down by your side. Flow through that one more time. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Reaching that spine long away from your hips. And exhale, flow through your version of a chaturanga. Inhaling to low cobra or upward facing dog. And then exhaling, rolling over those toes to downward facing dog. Looking forward in between your hands. Shift into a plank. And we'll do a slow hold in a chaturanga. Knees up or down. Keeping your elbows tucked in. Start to bend your elbows back towards your hips. And hold and hover at a half lift. Traditional chaturanga here. Knees up or down. Hold for one more breath. And then exhale, release the belly down to the ground. Release your forehead to the ground. And interlace your hands at the base of your spine, right on your butt. Interlace those fingers and bring the heels of your hands together. As you start to roll those shoulders away from your ears and down your back, see if you can draw those elbows closer together here. And as you inhale, press in to the tops of your feet and press your pelvis down into the ground. And on your next inhale, go ahead and bring your chest up off the ground. Expand through your chest. Maybe start to reach those arms up and away from your back, if that's all right for your shoulders, keeping a slight bend at the elbows or keeping it on your butt. Inhaling, expanding through the chest, and exhaling, holding. If you'd like to incorporate your legs into this locust variation, inhaling the legs up, everything up, holding here, full locust position. Are you hungry for some grain? And then exhale, release it all down, your forehead to the ground, your feet to the ground. Release your hands from the interlace. Bring your hands under your shoulders, fingertips in line with your nipples. Engage through the legs, tuck the toes. Have strong legs here. We're going to press up into a plank position. As you inhale, press up through a plank. And then exhale, shift to downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Looking forward in between your hands. Step, walk, or jump. Your feet to your hands. Ever so gracefully. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to standing, arms overhead, long spine. And then exhale, release your hands down by your sides. Setting up for Sun Salutation B, Surya Namaskar B. Bring your toes to touch, heels slightly apart. This is the traditional variation. If that doesn't feel right for your knees, you can have your feet hips width distance as long as your knees stay above your ankles. Sitting your hips back like you're going to sit into a chair as we sit into chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, reach your arms up and in line with your ears. Reaching your chest forward, sinking your hips back behind you. Making sure you can see all 10 toes. Go ahead and look down. Maybe reach them off the ground, the weights in your heels. And then exhale, fold forward, release. Inhale for that half lift, fingertips to shins. And then exhale, plant your hands and flow through your version of a chaturanga. Inhale for your back bend, low cobra or upward dog. And then exhale, roll over to downward facing dog. Bring that right knee into your chest as you start shifting your weight forward, planting that right foot in between your hands. And then releasing the heel of the back left foot. And maybe walking those toes in a few steps, half steps, so that your toes are pointing more towards the front of your mat than the side. Setting up heel to heel alignment for our first warrior. Warrior one here. Strong bend through the right leg. Inhaling with a long spine. Staying with your hands on your hips to start. Pressing your torso all the way up to standing. Breathing here for a moment. Bending through that front right knee. Finding length and strength through the back left leg. Maybe inhaling your arms up by your ears overhead. Breathing here. Maybe if you want to do a traditional warrior one, Virabhadrasana, a variation, bring your palms together and slightly out in front of your face. And look up at those palms. Broadening through the back, in between the shoulders. Breathing here. Finding your breath. And then exhale, release the hands in on either side of your right foot. Pop that back heel up and step back through a plank, your version of a chaturanga. Up dog on the inhale and down dog on the exhale. Left knee into your chest, shift your weight forward, plant that foot in between your hands. Bring that right foot in towards your left foot slightly. Plant the heel to heel alignment, or a little bit wider if you didn't feel very balanced on the other side. Inhaling, holding this low position, bringing your hands to your hips, and with a long spine, bring your torso upright. Setting up slowly with this warrior one to start. Seeing if your torso is facing the front of the room. Engaging through that back leg. Bringing that front knee over that ankle. Inhaling, maybe bringing your arms up overhead in line with your ears. Maybe bringing your palms together in front of your face slightly. Looking up. Broadening. Releasing the shoulders away from your ears. Broadening through the back body. Strong warrior. Sun warrior. And then exhale, release your hands to either side of your left foot. Pop the back heel up. Step back to a plank. Your version of a vinyasa. Exhaling down. Inhaling up. Exhaling to downward facing dog. Holding here for a moment. Maybe on your next breath, open mouth exhale to let it go. Reaching your chest towards your ankles. See if you can bring your chest through your arms even more. Finding some opening through those shoulders. Releasing those shoulders away from your ears. And see if you can broaden. Find more space in between your shoulder blades. Look forward in between your hands. Step, walk, or jump your feet to your hands as you exhale. And then sitting your hips back, you're going to inhale into the chair pose. Arms up overhead. And exhale. Release that work. Come to standing. Arms by your side into your mountain pose. Resetting here. Close your eyes for a moment and take a big belly breath in, expanding through the belly. Open your mouth, let it go. On your next inhale, reach your arms out and up overhead. And then exhale, folding forward, bending your knees to hinge down. Inhale, half lift, fingertips to the shins. And then exhale, flow through your vinyasa. Exhaling, chaturanga. Inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Bring that right knee in towards your chest. Shift your weight forward to plant that right foot in between your hands. Releasing that left heel to the ground, keeping a wider stance this time, but turn those left back toes in ever so slightly. Setting up for a heel to arch alignment for warrior two. And as you plant that back foot down, press through the outer edge of that left foot. Press through the heel of your right leg as you bend that knee over your ankle. And then we're going to cartwheel our hands up, starting with the left arm. Inhale it by your ear and come up right. Torso upright for warrior two position. Big breath here and let it go. Wrapping that right butt underneath you. Finding some openness through the front hips. Keeping your arms level with your shoulders here. Turn your palms face up and release those shoulders from your ears. If you're looking over those right fingertips, turn your palms face down. Breathing here. Warrior two position. Weight in the front right heel. And then bring your hands to your hips and straighten out that right leg. Turn those right toes in to parallel both feet with one another. Pressing into your legs, pressing your hips slightly forward. Inhaling with a long spine here. And then bend your knees just a little bit so that you can fold forward, hinging at the hips for a wide-legged forward fold here. Release your hands to the ground. Maybe press your palms into the ground and start to walk the heels of your hands in line with the heels of your feet. Or keeping your hands stacked under your shoulders, whatever works for you. See if you can straighten your legs any more. Maybe shifting the weight more into the toes of your feet instead of the heels. Seeing how that changes the stretch in your hamstrings. Inhaling, reach your head to the ground with a long spine. And then exhale, let it all go. Maybe bend the knees slightly here to try to get your belly in between your legs. And then walk your hands back under your shoulders. We're coming up for a half lift here. And then start to pop your left toes up off the ground, weight in the heel. Turn your entire left leg open to the left and plant that left foot. Start to walk your hands over to the left foot. Setting up for warrior two on the other side. Left heel in line with right arch. Turn those right toes in slightly. And then windmilling your hands up, starting with the right hand this time. Inhale, circle it up. Use your breath to come upright. Torso upright. Pressing the mat apart. If you can break your mat, you win the yoga prize. But not really, because it's just yoga. It doesn't matter. Inhaling, reaching that left butt underneath you. Finding some strength through the back leg. Inhaling your arms up in line with your shoulders. And just notice if you're shifting forward or back. Try to get your torso stacked over your hips. Breathing here. Palms face up for a moment to release those shoulders away from your ears. And to see if you can hold your arms up, not from the upper shoulder arms, but from underneath your arms. See if you can create a shelf for your arms to rest on. And then palms face down. Holding here for one more breath. You're a strong warrior 2. And then exhale, hands to your hips. Start to straighten that left leg. Pop up onto the heel, toes off the ground. Turn your entire leg parallel again with your other foot. Setting up for wide-legged fold. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Try and bring those heels of the hands together. Keep them glued together. Setting up here for another moment. Inhaling, reaching your shoulders up to your ears, and then releasing them down your back. Using your hands to pull them away from your ears. Keeping a slight bend in your elbows and a slight bend in your knees as you start to shift your torso forward, folding over your legs. Any amount. Maybe reaching those knuckles away from your hips. Breathing here. Slight bend in the knees. To start, get that belly down on your thighs. And then work on straightening your legs. And whenever you're ready, release your hands from the interlace and bring your hands underneath your shoulders. And start to bring your torso halfway lifted up off the ground. Bend your knees slightly. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up to standing. Pop those right toes up off the ground and turn that right foot all the way open to the right. Bring your hands to frame that right foot and flow through your version of a vinyasa. It could be just stepping back into downward facing dog, but if you're feeling it, flow through. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Holding here for a few breaths. See if you can reconnect to your Ujjayi breath. That whisper in the back of your throat. Holding your downward facing dog for another moment. And bring that right knee into your chest, hugging it in, and then stepping forward, right foot in between your hands. Staying popped up on those back toes, you might need to bring them in slightly. We're setting up for a lunge or a crescent pose. Pop up onto those fingertips. And feel your torso parallel to the ground, finding some length and strength through the upper body. Maybe hover those fingertips off the ground. Maybe bring your torso up a little bit more so that your belly is not resting on your thigh, but keeping it shifted over that right leg. Maybe inhale your arms back behind you, or if you want more, inhale them up alongside your ears. Then come all the way up to your lunge pose, torso upright. Maybe arms up by your ears. Release the shoulders away from your ears. Maybe bend slightly in that back knee so your hips can be level with one another. Inhaling here and exhaling. We're going to hop up into Warrior 3. You can keep your arms up overhead if that's right for you. Otherwise, bring your hands to your hips. And we'll start from the hips. Keeping your hips, I'll say it one more time, level with one another. Pointing forward. Press your weight into the front right foot. Maybe bring your toes up for a moment and spread your toes out. And then plant them back on the ground, finding a nice strong base with that right leg. You can walk in that left foot a few times if you want to have a little bit of a better base to work with. And as you find length through that back leg, shift your torso forward, hinge forward so much that your left leg pops up back behind you, keeping your torso level with the ground, engaging through that back leg, toes facing down, hips level with one another. Warrior 3, we're doing it. Last warrior. If you fall out of it, it's just yoga. It doesn't matter. Come on back. If you want more, inhale, reach your arms by your ears. Find a long line from your heel to your fingertips. One more breath here. Maybe work on straightening that bottom left or bottom right leg. Inhaling. And then exhale, releasing into a forward fold. Release that left foot to meet your right. And let it all go. Inhale for a half lift. And exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms out and up. Come to standing, arms overhead. And release your hands down by your sides. Reconnecting to your breath here. Resetting up. Pressing into your feet so much. Engaging through the legs. But release those butt muscles. Bring those hip bones towards your low ribs. Broaden through the chest. Reach those hands down. Close your eyes for a moment. And catch your breath. Tune in. Reconnect to what brought you here. Why are you tapping into your sun warrior? Inhaling, maybe opening your eyes, your arms out to the side and overhead. And then exhale, hinge at your hips, bend your knees slightly to fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, plant those hands. Flow through your version of a vinyasa. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Bring that left knee into your chest. Shifting your weight forward. Plant that left foot in between your hands. Maybe walking those right toes out or in. Setting up for your version of a stable lunge with the legs. Come up to your fingertips. And draw your chest forward with a long spine here. Hover your fingertips and see if you can get your belly off your thighs, but still angling forward. Reaching your arms back behind you or overhead. Finding some stability wherever you are. And then bring your hands to your hips. And inhale your torso upright. Finding your lunge, your crescent, your Anjaneyasana, whatever you want to call it. Weight in the front left heel. Bend the back right knee slightly to bring your torso upright, your hips facing forward. Maybe inhale your arms up overhead. Breathe in here. Setting up, you know where we're headed. Bring your hands to your hips to start. Keeping your hips level with one another. Start to shift your torso diagonally over that left thigh. Maybe walk those right toes in slightly. Or just start to shift over that left leg so much that your right back toes pop up off the ground. Finding a long line from the heel to the head. In warrior 3 position here. Maybe inhale your arms in line with your ears, reaching from your fingertips to your heel, just like we did in bird dog earlier. Reaching, holding, inhaling, and exhaling. One more breath here. And then exhale, release into a fold. Release that right foot to meet the left. Release it, wiggle it, whatever you gotta do. I'm gonna inhale for a half lift, fingertips to shins, and exhale, fold. Inhale, circle your arms out as you come up to standing, arms overhead. And then exhale, release your hands by your side. Holding your Tadasana for a moment. Maybe closing the eyes and soaking in all that energy. 3 different warrior poses. Sun warriors over here, in over there. Inhale, reach arms out and up overhead. And then exhale, start to squat down, hugging your knees into your chest, coming into a little squat ball onto the toe tips, the balls of your feet. And then whenever you're ready, plop your butt down. Coming up to a seated position, stretch the right leg long out in front of you and wrap the left foot over top of that right leg, planting the sole of the foot. Start reaching your chest up, puffing your chest out here, wrapping that right arm around your left leg, and start to turn your torso over to the left. You can use your left hand back behind you as a kickstand to start to straighten your spine more here, engaging through that right leg, and releasing into a nice twist. One more breath here. And then inhaling back through center. Straighten both legs out in front of you, sitting up tall here. Bring your palms by your butt and press your chest up, puff it up. Finding some length through the hamstrings, you can start to hinge a little bit forward. And then shifting back slowly here. And then setting up on the other side, keeping that left leg engaged and long. Bring that right knee into your chest. Hold that right knee with your hands to pop that right foot over your left leg. Plant the sole of your right foot on the outside of your left leg. And then using your palms, maybe hug your knee into your chest as you puff your chest up. Maybe wrapping that left arm around that right knee. Bringing your right hand back behind you as a little kickstand to help find length through your spine. Length through the spine is priority. The twist is secondary. Inhaling, finding length. And exhale, releasing into the twist. Flexing through that left leg, finding some length. Releasing into that twist. One more breath here. And releasing your back right hand, coming back through center. And stretch both legs long out in front of you, sitting up tall here. This time, if you'd like to grab onto your legs or your feet, we're going to do a gentle forward fold. Finding length through the spine as priority, and the fold is secondary. As you exhale, bring your torso over your legs any amount. And then once you've stretched as far as you can release your head down to the legs. One breath here. And exhale, release. And coming back up on your next inhale, torso upright. And then slowly lie back down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest. One little hug. And then keeping the soles of your feet together, we're going to keep this shape, but supine. So soles of the feet together, knees wide, and just let that shape fall to the ground. Gentle hip opening here. If you want more intensity, bring your heels closer to your crotch. If you want less intensity, release your feet away from your body. And find a position that's comfortable, where you can hold it for a few moments. You can bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest and close your eyes. Breathing in to your belly, feeling that hand rise up. Inhaling through the chest, and then open your mouth and let it go. Again, inhale through the belly, expanding through the chest. Open the mouth, let it go. Releasing the work of controlling your breath, letting it come naturally. And just notice with your hands in your belly and chest. Where your breath is. Reconnecting to yourself. Sending some gratitude into yourself for doing this practice. Bringing in the longer days with the winter solstice. Being sun warriors. And whenever you're ready, you can bring your hands down by your hips, palms face up or down. Maybe reaching your legs long out in front of you. And coming back into that Shavasana shape where we started. Letting your eyeballs get heavy in the sockets. Like your eyeballs are going to fall back into your head. Releasing the muscles around the eyes and the mouth. Let your ears get heavy and fall towards the ground. Release your eyebrows. Breathing here. Releasing. Any work. I'm going to come give you some pressure on your shoulders if that's all right. Whenever you're ready, start bringing some movement back into your fingers and toes, waking your body back up. Bring your knees into your chest and hug them in. You can rock and roll up to a seat or roll over onto one side and press yourself up to a Sukhasana, easy seated position here, crossing at the ankles or at the shins, closing your eyes and sitting up tall. Bringing your hands together at your heart center, rubbing your palms together, and then pressing your thumbs into your third eye in between your eyebrows. Thanking yourself for coming to the mat, and thank you all for joining me. sharing such wonderful energy. Inhaling here. And then exhale, bowing forward. The sun and warrior in me honors and respects the sun warrior in you. Or namaste. Thank you. It was so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's awesome.
And thank you, virtual sister. As always, Tuesdays are fun mornings. Let me know if you have any recommendations. All donation-based classes, paying it forward, 50% on the charity, 50% on to save so I can do more yoga teacher training. So thanks again for tuning in. See you next week.
How do we get the money to you?
Oh,
Venmo?
yeah, Venmo. I'll post the information in the description below at Ed Weezer.